You want me to put that on my Tudor?
A Narcissist is Snubbed by Kevin Costner. Harry's wife purchased a table at Kevin Costner's charity event so that she and Harry could turn up and hobnob with some famous people and make it seem as if they belong in that group. As I've explained in my video, You Are Totally Out of Your Depth, they don't belong in that group, but Harry's wife's delusion compels her to believe that she does. She believes that those people are her people. She neglects to realise that she is a talentless individual who only got to where she has got in the world because she happened to ensnare and marry a dim-witted ginger prince. She has no ability. She was a mediocre actress. Beyond that, she's not a capable writer. She's not a witty raconteur. She's not a particularly driven philanthropist. She's not bothered about charity work. She can't sing. She can't dance. She doesn't have any brilliant ideas. All that she can present is her victimhood associated with her time in the royal family, and that's really the only thing that people are interested in, apart from now watching her crash and burn. Yes, there are a few shuggers still knocking around who think that she's marvellous and the victim of an ongoing smear campaign, but they're stupid and fail to understand what evidence actually explains. Harry's wife is attempting to reinvent herself once again by being a celebrity. And so far, what has she got out of WME? A couple of concerts, an appearance with Kevin Costner, and making it into the Harry's wife games. Yeah, she's popped up with some pap walks here and there, but they've just largely been derided. Her attendances at the concerts have been ridiculed. With the Invictus Games, there was plenty of derisory commentary about her appearance there, but for her, it will have been viewed as a success because she received plenty of applause and kind comments and looks while she attended the Harry's Wife Games. But WME are really struggling to make her seem relevant. Why? Because she's not. The people that she attempts to hobnob with, hanging around with people who've got genuine talent, who can sing, who forged careers, she doesn't have anything in connection with those people because she's a Janey-come-lately. She's piggybacked on the reputation and prominence of Harry without having grafted herself. She grifts, but she doesn't graft. She's not relatable to the general public because the general public largely are either disinterested in her, apart from when she's whinging about having been mistreated in the royal family, or positively dislike her. And therefore, she's really running out of options. But she continues to try, and she tried once again with the attendance at Kevin Costner's charity event. Here, once again, we're provided with an excellent opportunity to see her narcissism in action, with a piece of footage which shows how she has been snubbed. Let's bring up the footage, and then I'll talk you through it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
I was entertained when I first saw this particular clip. The focus isn't on Harry's wife treating Harry like a little boy. I've analysed that aspect in the video, Do As You Are Told, Little Boy. But no, the emphasis here is upon Harry's wife's expectation and response to what Kevin Costner does. Harry hands over the award. There's a shake of the hands. He says something to Mr. Costner. Might be along the lines of, I don't have a house in the UK any longer. Any chance you could help me? And then Mr. Costner asks for the microphone. At that point, you can see that Harry's wife is looking at him with an air of expectance. She has her hands clasped together in front of her, as if to say, and now this famous and wealthy and newly single American actress will undoubtedly recognize that I am the most beautiful actress in the world, that he will tell me that he's secretly been in love with me all of these years, and that's why he got rid of his wife, that he wants to cast me in the leading role in The Bodyguard too, and pay me $100 million for doing so. You may laugh, but thoughts along those lines would have been going through Harry's wife's head as a consequence of her deluded narcissism and her magical thinking. She expects that Kevin Costner will acknowledge her because, well, after all, why wouldn't he? She is the amazing Harry's wife. And what is quite clear, that Kevin Costner doesn't. She expects that he will turn and say, well, I'd really like to thank Harry's wife and Harry for being here today and for adding to the occasion with their brilliant presence. I'm so delighted that such titans of philanthropy and charitable action could be with me on this day in relation to my own charity for first responders. But no, Costner clearly kicks off with something else. Maybe he says, what do you all think about Yellowstone then? Fucking great, wasn't it? You can see the difference between Harry's wife and the other people who are assembled. The man wearing the orange t-shirt, the lady next to him, and the man in the uniform behind Costner, they're all watching and listening to Costner. They are paying attention. Some of them are smiling. Their expressions don't alter. Why? Because they're there to listen to Kevin Costner. They're not there to be acknowledged or have any expectancy of doing so. However, you notice that Harry's wife expression changes from that expectant look of, and now this is when he mentions me, to, oh, he hasn't. And then looks at Harry as if to say, why did that happen? Why hasn't he mentioned me? You must be your fault, you ginger twat. You see that crestfallen look of hers as she is wounded because Kevin Costner doesn't acknowledge her presence. Her narcissism demands that everybody looks upon her and thinks that she's marvellous and amazing. Kevin Costner couldn't give a rat's ass about these two grifters, but it's evidently the case that he was backed in something of a corner by the agency to include them so long as they bought a table. And as part of what the agency wanted to achieve, they no doubt said, look, just let them come on stage and hand over an award. It'll give them some prominence. Look, we've got to try and earn the fee somehow. Costner allows that to happen, but he's buggered if he's going to mention the gruesome twosome. He's not going to talk about Harry's wife, even though she thinks that he should. And thus, she's wounded. Now, Kevin Costner would probably attain the status of a non-intimate secondary source in her fuel matrix because she's met him and spoken to him, possibly might still remain a tertiary source. But the fact that he is physically proximate to her and fails to acknowledge her in this instance does cause her wounding. She can't run across the stage and say, it's me, Harry's wife, I'm best mates with Kevin Costner, he wants to shag me. You can tell that because that's why he's no longer with his wife. The facade prevents that from happening. She can't really say anything to anybody else about, oh, why did the sunglass-wearing wanker not mention me? Because she's on stage. And therefore, she casts a look in the direction of Harry, who's oblivious to what's going on, probably not really caring, and thus she has to jettison the wounding by simply thinking to herself, oh, well, suit yourself, Mr. Costner. I'll get you back on another occasion. And thus jettisons and stays in a position of withdrawal for the purpose of gaining that control. But she's snubbed by Kevin Costner. He doesn't care about her, and he probably is irritated by her presence, like many people. But once again, she's there, like that Labrador that's going to come running towards you. Talk about me, acknowledge me, acknowledge... Oh, you haven't. And thus, she's crestfallen and wounded by the snub. And that look on her face as she goes from expectant mention to being snubbed is one which you can all savour again and again. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for watching.